Today I bring you all the Castle and Pirate theme builds submitted for Series 2 of the Bricklink Designer Programme. Hi there, I'm Brick to Rick. Welcome to my channel for LEGO ideas, inspiration and instructions. On my channel you'll find castle stuff, pirate theme videos and seasonal sets throughout the year, including free instructions, so if you like this type of content, please subscribe. Also check me out on Instagram, search Brick to Rick for more previews and pictures. So the Bricklink Designer Programme has been running for a number of years now, giving the opportunity for amateur yet extremely skillful designers to have their builds made into proper sets, like the Winter Chalet here. Over the next week or so, members of the public are invited to vote on their favourite designs. Check it out on Series 2. I'm now going to show you all the castle themed ideas, chosen randomly from the Bricklink website. This is the Secret Inn, made of 1,790 pieces. This secret inn is described as a refuge for all. On the ground floor is a place where you can try the delicacies of the forest chef. On the first floor there is a room dedicated to writing, and hidden in the attic there are loads of treasures. Separated from the inn, hidden by the trees that surround the entire building, is a tool shed. The whole secret inn is shrouded in mystery and fantasy. Next up we have the Crow's Nest, a medieval message tower made of 2,786 pieces. The designer had the idea for this MOC whilst putting together some Raven Knight minifigures. The colour scheme of this faction is very distinctive and they wanted to use it for a medieval building. The entire model consists of 4 modules of approximately the same size, which can be put together in any way. Now this build is called the Black Falcon Knight Display, and this model has 1,202 pieces. The designer says that this is a unique LEGO build for all LEGO Castle fans. The dynamic brick-built figurine of a gallant knight on a majestic horse will gallop right through your LEGO display cabinet. Crafted with utmost care, this model guarantees a substantial size whilst paying attention to lots of details. This set here is called the Knight's Grand Pavilion, made of 636 pieces. This is where knights, royalty and grand adventures come to life. This set promises endless hours of building fun and immersive storytelling experiences. The designer says that the weapon rack proudly showcases the knight's impressive armoury, setting the stage for epic battles and heroic duels. Next up we have the Medieval Joiner's Workshop, made of 3,983 pieces. This is where the joiner from the Lion Knight's kingdom lives, in a village with his wife, and he has a workshop where he makes and sells furniture. They both live in the house above the workshop. The model is made of several modules, so the interior can easily be accessed, whilst the house maintains a lot of external details. This next model is called a Lord's Palace, made of 2,731 pieces. Now the designer behind this says this model was built to represent a palace where a Lord of the Lion Knights can live. In his palace he meets members of the Falcon Knights to sign a treaty. On the website it says that the design was inspired by historical buildings from medieval Europe. Now this build here is called the Bucolic Walk on the Bridge, made of 919 pieces. The designer says that there are no bridges in the LEGO theme, and they say that a budget set like this would be great for any AFOL. They go on to describe it as quite a small set that can complete any of your dioramas, including a medieval diorama, modular building, or even the A-frame cabin. Next up we have the Forest Citadel, made of 3,988 pieces. This model was inspired by the classic conflict between the knights and the forestmen in the LEGO Castle theme. The model is not just a display piece, there are numerous traps to be triggered, passages to be traversed and secrets to be discovered. The designer says that the variety in the model makes it a truly enjoyable build. Now this model is called Henry's Watermill Bakery, made of 3,998 pieces. The designer claims that you can get the watermill working. All you have to do is just turn the lever at the back of the house and the whole watermill works. There are plenty of details inside, including a stone oven, a millstone to mill the flour, and much more accessories. Also, the build is part furnished with a table and food on it. Next we have the medieval guard tower, made of 3,243 pieces. The designer says that they drew inspiration from Bohemian castles and ended up with a stone tower with a wooden top floor. The castle has a storage room and living quarters. Outside the tower is a small stable and a supply of firewood. The tower is fully accessible with a hinge on the outer wall. This next model is called the Medieval Stonemasons Guild, made of 1,629 pieces. This setting of a construction site allows for multiple different objects without requiring a massive number of bricks to complete the structure. There is a huge pillar, an arched hallway under construction, a stained glass window, all creating a feeling of vast scale, typical of large medieval buildings. This model here is called the Medieval Street, made of 3,939 pieces. The medieval street consists of two main buildings, one with warm-coloured walls, brick and ochre, and a blue roof, the other with grey stone walls and an orange tiled roof. These two buildings are linked by a footbridge which spans a street, making this ensemble the crossroads of a medieval town. This next design is called the Lost Kingdom, made of 1,714 pieces. The Lost Kingdom is a set of display that would perfectly fit in your living room, your bedroom or your game room. Designed in multiple separate parts, you can arrange it as you see fit. The dragon was the most complex part, with all his angles and details. Next up we have the two resting knights, made of 1,775 pieces. The designer says that the medieval theme is probably one of his favourite themes within LEGO. With this build they want to depict two Black Falcon knights, but not at minifig scale. They provide a soldier sharpening his sword resting on a tree stump, along with a bowman warming his hands by the fire. This next set is called the Medieval Town, made of 2,692 pieces. This classic medieval town has a square and a fountain and is a perfect match to any LEGO castle. It's full of authentic features, accessories and minifigures to expand and improve your kingdom. The designer is careful to point out that each of these three buildings has a detailed interior that's accessed easily because they are modular. Now this model is called the Black Tower, made of 1,087 pieces. This model is intended to be a stage for your castle collection, and it can be combined with nearly any other set or minifigure. You could easily turn it into a dragon's tower, or add a wizard to make an enchanted workshop. The designer points out you could even add orcs or knights to make it into part of your medieval minifigure city or diorama. The final castle design was the Gate of Brichtenstein Castle, made of 2,679 pieces. The impressive gateway to Sir Brichtenstein's castle contains many defences. Due to the open back of the shell towers, the model can also be played with. The designer combined a historical construction with an appealing design and increased playability. So that's it. Go check out the rest of the designs on the Bricklink website. Next we move on to the pirate theme. There aren't very many, I only found 8, but they're very impressive indeed. In no particular order, first up we have the Interceptor, made of 2,511 pieces. The Interceptor is a heavily armed frigate ready to bring thieves to justice, boasting a whopping 32 cannons. Its low hull design and many sails means that it can outrun or catch up to most ships. What an impressive ship indeed. Next we have the Ominous Isle, made of 2,773 pieces. The Ominous Isle is described as the dreaded base of operations for a fearsome captain and his motley crew. The signature skull design is the final warning to foolish travellers that they've ventured too far into dangerous waters and are about to have their first and final encounter with the legendary pirate captain. This next ship is called the Imperial Sloop Neptune, made of 1,005 pieces. The sloop was a popular style of ship among traders and pirates alike, as they could be operated by smaller crews and were fast, allowing them to overtake slower ships or outrun threats from larger, more heavily armed, square-rigged vessels. The Neptune here sails under the control of pirates for now, but who's to say what the future holds? Perhaps she'll be retaken by the Imperials someday. Now this build is called the Pajaro Island Fort, made of 2011 pieces. The Pajaro Island Fort is a rocky tropical island that is home to a small naval fort which guards the coast from pirates. The island is named after the birds which stop for rest during the annual migrations. The island is also home to the Yellow Tavern, which provides food and fresh water to visitors. On the pier is a small wooden crane for transferring supplies to passing ships. Now this pirate ship here is called the Black Fortune, made of 3,981 pieces. This is a modification of an older design, and the main focus was to have the right amount of detail inside and outside and catch the perfect pirate vibe from the golden age of piracy without going overboard and still having some of a movie-like feeling. As you can see, the Black Fortune was built on a larger scale than usual. It includes a turnable rudder, a functioning crane, and 10 fierce pirates. Next we have the Imperial Brig, made of 2,025 pieces. The Imperial Brig is inspired by many classic LEGO pirate sets and has 5 minifigures, an Imperial officer, 2 Imperial soldiers and 2 pirates, one in the brig and the other attempting a daring rescue. The Imperial Brig would be a perfect display set for classic pirate fans. Its nostalgic yellow, dark red and white colour pattern would fit nicely next to modern or vintage sets. Now this Imperial ship is called the Vengeance, made of 3,987 pieces. This ship is the counterpart of any pirate ship out there in the Seven Seas. The main goal here is to present an Imperial ship long awaited by the pirate-themed fans. Sections of the ship include a kitchen in the nose of the hull, cargo bay and armoury in the back of the hull, hull cargo and gun deck, a captain's cabin, and a main deck over 3 levels. This ship has a total crew of 12. Last but not least is the Crimson Outpost, a pirate island made of 3,880 pieces. This design was made to build a realistic looking scenery for pirate stories. The tower of the fortress stands firmly, whilst the rest of the fortress has slowly decayed over the years. Around the island you can often find the Ghost Runner, or the interceptor of the Crimson Buccaneers, which regularly sets sail to spread fear and terror from the island known as the Crimson Outpost. Many thanks for watching. Go and check out the designs on Bricklink.